Hey, what's up guys? Back again with another Showdown Replay against Garbage Noob. I'm on the other side, still rocking the Zard X Sand team, which I really thoroughly enjoy. It's probably one of the best teams that I ever made. But pretty much going into this game, I looked at my opponent's team, and I just said, okay, get rid of Thunderous, and then win with Zard X, because I can't Dragon Dance until the Thunderous is gone because of the Thunder Wave support. But I'm just going to start up this game. I felt Skarmory was my best lead because I was pretty sure he was going to lead with Garchomp, because Garchomp just checks like a good half my team. But I really felt he was going to lead off with probably his Garchomp, so I lead off with my Skarmory. And unfortunately, I get probably the single worst matchup I could have possibly gotten with Charizard. Now, what I was fearing was, I was really fearing it to be a Charizard X, which my play would be at that, which most Charizard X don't really carry Earthquake anymore. Most of them are running Dual Stab, but I wanted to go into my Tyranitar expecting him to be Zard X and either Dragon Dance up or go straight for the Fire move. As it turns out, he's Charizard Y. Now that Fire Blast miss didn't matter at all, because I'm about to make probably the probably the only misplay of the entire game, and I predict him to go into his Garchomp, and I go for the Ice Punch, except he stays in and absolutely destroys my life with Focus Blast. Now, looking at his team, I was pretty sure that, you know, Scarftar absolutely nukes him if he's not defensive Garchomp. So, team structure-wise, defensive Garchomp made sense. I was really predicting that. It didn't work out in my favor, and now this Zard X is a huge problem, and my Excadrill isn't going to be able to get going, and I got to play aggressively this one. But I bring in my own Charizard knowing that it's just my best play, and I go for Dragon Claw expecting to switch early into the Thunderous expecting Dragon Dance. But I'm going to bring in my Excadrill on the obvious Thunder Wave because he knows Charizard's an issue, and at this point, I can just fire off an Iron Head because I want to get rid of this Thunderous, and you know what, I didn't expect him to have the Focus Blast because he was leftovers. But I'm going to bring in my Skarmory as my opponent predicts that, goes for Fire Blast. It doesn't do too much because I'm special defensive, and expecting him to bring in his Charizard, I'm going to double into my own Charizard as he ends up bringing in Garchomp as fodder. Yet again, I'm not going for Dragon Dance because he's still got that Thunderous in the back. But he's going to bring in Latios, and I'm going to bring in my Excadrill just to tank a Draco Meteor. Works out for me, I'm able to live, and because I want to keep my Excadrill as death fodder, I'm going to bring in my Skarmory, skillfully dodge an Earthquake because you know it's a Skarmory, as my opponent does stay in and Dracos. Now, to anybody asking why would you do that, here's the thing. I never set up Stealth Rocks, and he more than likely because T-Tar outsped Charizard before he knew it was Scarftar. Excadrill, there's no way it's going to be a Stealth Rock if it's paired with a T-Tar. So he's not sure if Stealth Rock is going to be on Skarmory or Garchomp, and he more than likely stayed in with Latios in order to prevent the Stealth Rocks at all costs. Because if I got the Stealth Rocks up, Thunderous was dead and Charizard would be significantly weakened, and Latios was his defogger anyway, who, don't get me wrong, I would beat it 1v1, but he would be able to prevent Stealth Rocks at there would be no way I could possibly prevent Stealth Rocks. But he's going to just Draco. I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to roost up. As my opponent's going to switch into Keldeo, I'm just going to go for the Iron Head, expecting him to bring in the Thunderous. I am able to get a little bit of damage on the Keldeo, and now I'm just going to sack my Excadrill to Scald. But I'm going to use this as an opportunity to bring in my Garchomp just to get off some Stealth Rocks. That damage screams he is definitely Specs. There's no question about that. So I'm just going to bring in my Manaphy at this point, because Manaphy's going to be able to get, he really doesn't have a solid way of beating Manaphy. I'm just going to go for the Ice Beam expecting Latios, because like I said, if I get rid of the Latios, then Charizard would be at like 10%. Thunderous would die to Stealth Rocks, and I really wanted to just get rid of that Latios. As my opponent's going to bring in the Bisharp, I was really fearing this to be Swords Dance at this point, because Scald in the sun wouldn't have done crap. I would have had to risk the burn. Ice Beam, it resists. Energy Ball, it resists, and I could possibly give him a boost. And my team is fairly anti-Ferrothorn, so he probably wasn't betting on me having the hidden power fire. But I'm just going to switch straight to my Garchomp because this thing's a problem. He luckily hits me with a knockoff, and he's going to take a ton of recoil between Rocky Helmet, Rough Skin, and that. And I'm just going to stay in and go for the Dragon Tail just in case he wants to bring in the Latios on a possible Earthquake or Fire Blast. He takes damage. I'm going to be able to bring in my Manaphy. Yet again, I'm trying to catch that Latios, as my opponent's more than likely going to go for knockoff on the case of possible Skarmory coming. I'm just going to stay in an Ice Beam because I do not want that Latios defogging, as my opponent probably makes his only real misplay by bringing in Keldeo. Now, the reason I say that this was a misplay was because my opponent should have brought in Latios. This was his opportunity to defog because my Stealth Rocker was dead. That would make Thundurus survive hazards, and all he would have to do is Thunder Wave my Charizard, and he would more than likely have a fairly easy time cleaning up a Keldeo. But my opponent brings in the Keldeo. I'm just going to sack my Manaphy off to Spec Scald, bring in my Charizard X, live any hit. Because he's Specs, he's obviously not going to be able to take me out because it's not Hydro Pump. And I'm just going to be able to clean sweep with Dragon Claw, because Latios we saw was Life Orb, Keldeo was obviously Specs, and Thundurus dies to Iron Dust to the Stealth Rocks. So that was a good game to my opponent, really fast-paced game. Like I said, we both made one big misplay each, whereas I should have went for the Stone Edge. I was really expecting him to be defensive Garchomp. It just made way too much sense looking at his team structure. I wasn't expecting that to be Charizard Y, but you know what? I was prepared for it anyway. But making that, like I said, not going for the Stone Edge there, it ended up costing me my Sand, which would have been, because another reason why, like I said, that I was expecting him to be defensive Garchomp, his team absolutely hates Sand with a burning passion if he loses his Charizard. He's got nothing at all for Sand. But either way, you know what, to each their own. Good game to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Maybe check out my channel, check out my other videos. And until next time, guys, see you later.